mic is on. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We're back again.
Yay. She almost punched me out just now.
No,
And it would have been like, eh.
I would have, but Jess couldn't take Kel out of the frame, so.
You just have to look at me lying there. Oh.
That would be terrible.
You know what? Listen, it's been a long quarantine for you, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. No, but because today's our favorite things, right?
Favorite.
And you're my favorite, right?
You're my favorite.
So, yeah.
Oh, hey, anyway. Yeah.
Hi. Anyway, so we're talking about yarn and things.
And stuff.
So I think the first thing we're going to talk about are the Schuyler sisters.
Schuyler.
Why are we going to talk about Schuyler sisters?
Because we have them.
We have
We
them.
have all three of them.
We do.
But as yarn. Not like we have them. Because
No,
that would be a little weird.
That would be a hostage situation.
Yeah, that would be bad. No.
So this is Angelica. This is Eliza. And this is Aunt Peggy.
And Peggy.
And Peggy.
Angelica. Eliza.
And Peggy.
The Schuyler sisters. Here
So
they
we've
are.
had them for a while because our daughter was a huge Hamilton fan back a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And so were we. And Kel developed those colors. That was some of the last mini set colors we developed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Before Becca took over.
Yeah. And but since they did the movie and it was up recently, we thought we'd bring them back and say hello again because and also because we have some great samples that we've done in Angelica in particular. She seems to be a favorite.
I mean, what can you say?
Yeah.
Right? Angelica, right?
So this, I think we've shown this on one of our little talks before. This is the Happy Hour shawl by Rachel Henry and
Molinar.
Oh, I think it's Rachel Molinar, who goes by Remily Knits on Ravelry, and I love this. It's kind of a choose your own adventure shawl. Rachel gives you a bunch of different motifs. There's a fancy hem and a less fancy hem. There's a lace motif. There's these little lines and nooks. And then there's just regular stitching, but she throws in there that you should do some extra color stripes in there. So stripes.
Wrong movie.
Yes. So we did this one in Angelica and Oceanus. Yep. And
Which is a really nice combination.
It's a gorgeous
like
combination.
It's sort of surprising.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're gonna put dark teal and dusky rose together, and oh gosh, that came out gorgeously.
Yeah.
And brown, yeah,
And
really
it's
nice.
just gorgeous. But that's one way to use Angelica.
So small 100 Ravens trivia about the Schuyler sisters. I used to be a costumer ages ago, and I had the Schuyler sisters costumed in my head when I was listening to the musical, and I did. These were the dresses that they wore. Come to find out, I think that's actually the costumes.
It was really close.
It was really close. I was like, hey, go figure. Yeah.
So the other place that we did Angelica, this is another Rachel Molinar, and who was also a huge Hamilton fan. Mm-hmm. And this is Angelica. And it's the pattern was actually inspired by the colorway and the show, and it's called My Dearest Angelica. If you know the show, you know where that comes from. But it's got this great little heart motif on the edge.
So here, I'll put it down on the sisters down here. It's a great, and this is a fun one. I've made this one, and it's a quick, fun knit. And it's got the edge is really like it's just nice. It's like you can't get bored. Like even as you're increasing, you're just about ready to get bored. But oh, now I've got this fun little motif to do on the edge, and it's really great. It's a great one. I love it.
There you go. So that was the Schuyler sisters. And we forgot to say, if you have any questions, please type them into the comments. We like questions. It helps inspire better conversation between us and you. And we have Jess, our lovely assistant in the control room over there. And she'll read your questions to us so we can answer them. So
yep.
If you hear us talking to someone off camera, that's Jess. Or the dogs. Yeah. Okay, so in terms of favorite things, you want to show
chocolate.
Yes. Not for me.
Oh my gosh. The Bead Biz, the lovely ladies from the Bead Biz sent, like, Becca went and picked up some stuff from them, and like twice they sent back chocolate. And I was just like,
magic chocolate.
We need to go visit this nice people again. Because when you come back, there's chocolate.
Yeah. Well, fun fact, I know you can. All three.
Yes.
That's why I don't want to.
So sweet. That's what you
show off what you're doing.
Oh yeah. Okay. So, this is. I have been knitting a brown sweater since I started knitting. Pretty much.
Like there have been many brown sweaters. None of them finished.
None of them finished. But I think this is it. This is the farthest I've ever gotten on a brown sweater. I knit it. You can see where I knitted up to about here. And then increased too much, and it was not a brown sweater, it was a brown caftan. And I was like, no, it's fine, it's Ruby. And Becca's like, it's a dress, no. So I was good.
Especially because, what are you knitting it out of?
I am knitting it out of, like, why my favorite things. My other favorite thing is Kodiak. I think this yarn is like, I'll be in my bun.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Which Kodiak is?
Kodiak is my favorite yarn.
Oh. It is merino. Silk.
And
yak.
It's merino. It's merino, silk, and yak, everybody. So,
yeah.
So, like, for sweaters, I mean, this is, like, drapey.
So will you be wearing a shirt underneath that?
No. But it's wonderfable. And listen, all the way back, I know, I frogged all the way back to here. And started again, and I'm loving it. And knitting with it is beautiful, and it's gorgeous. And I put it on. I took it off and put it on some waste yarn yesterday and wore it around. And my daughter looks at me. She's 15. She looks at me. She goes,
"Well, because it's only going up to like here."
She goes, "That's a look." Nothing like a teenager.
That's all right. Teenager loaned me a cute little shirt to wear
today.
Oh,
nice.
Well, I wanted to get my 50s on today. I pegged my pants, and so I had to go off.
Speaking of my favorite things. Rockabilly. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, hey, that's a great introduction to. Speaking of.
No. We'll do that.
Come on.
Fine.
Speaking of rockabilly.
Yep.
And favorite things. I'll put it over there so they can see it. These are merfolk, and they are not only merfolk, they are awesome, badass merfolk with tattoos, no less. So I'm going to show them to you. Speaking of rockabilly, this is one of our project bags, and also made by Rachel Molinar.
Rachel does everything.
She does everything. She's awesome. And I'll show you the inside, of course. The inside is hold fast and rum and all kinds of great stuff.
Grog.
Pirate life. Yeah, so you got some grog on the inside there, and then some awesome tattooed mermaids.
Yeah. I just thought we'd bring out the project bags this time and show you guys a few of them, because Rachel just brought a new batch of them to us. She doesn't often have time to make us large quantities of them, so they're kind of a thing we have. We usually have them in the booth. Sometimes we put them on the website.
Yep.
But they're not really a big thing for us. But they're gorgeous bags, and they're roomy and perfect. And
amazing.
So,
better on the inside.
Now that we have so many of them, I thought, well, I'd throw them out and let people see.
Yeah.
So, Kel, do you want to show?
I want to show some more favorites. Yeah.
Okay.
So speaking of mermaids, here's another amazing mermaid one.
So we have lots of them. We have loads of different prints. Rachel does them three at a time. So we get 3 of each kind of bag, or of each pattern.
And then I choose one and I take it, and then Rebecca takes it out of my closet and puts it back in the mix again. I'm like, didn't I used to have a mermaid bag? She's like, no.
I don't remember that.
Fabulous pinup mermaid.
Every one of the bags has a coordinating fabric on the inside. A lot of our prints are pinups, so we have the pinup mermaids.
Yeah. Speaking of favorite things,
we have cowgirl pinups. We have cowboy pinups. Mm-hmm. We have
there we go.
So we have we have biker chicks. I think I only have one biker chick left. These are our silver foxes. Because look on the inside.
Oh, silver foxes. That's right. Foxes. So good. I love this bag. I think this is one of the ones that I took, and then it wound up not in my. No,
That's what that is. Nice try.
Oh wait! Oh, you have to see the inside of this one too. The inside of this one is crabs because
Crabs.
I mean, obviously. Can you see it?
Can't.
Can I see it? I don't know.
It's close enough.
All right, and here is
We've got lots to get through.
silver foxes with boxes because amazing.
All right.
Okay.
You want me to do one, or you want to?
Yeah, you do one.
All right. So a lot of our bags are science themed. So we look for really cool science fabrics. This one's very rainbow and cool, and it's all different kinds of disciplines. All different. I just made Jess laugh.
No. I was laughing at a comment.
Oh, okay.
Different
Cat-
flavors, different flavors of science.
Cat Harper said, "So funny. I thought you were holding up baggy underwear."
Woo! Them's my bloomers.
That's why I was laughing.
I need like a bloomer for each of my thighs. Like,
So, and this one has great equations and stuff on the inside.
Yep.
This one, I just think I love the colors on this one. We try for stuff that isn't the stuff we see all the time. We try for stuff that's a little unique, a little fun. So this one, I don't know why. A little bit naughty sometimes. Like, oh, we had pinup Space Girls with peaches on the inside because, of course, and our first pinup boys had pickles on the inside.
I love how she goes pickles.
Because why? Is that the universal?
You know what they always say? I'm the bad one.
You are. So these are very sweet little taupe and
gray.
No, taupe and pinkish kitties on the inside, on the outside, and then wild pink 50s kitties on the inside. Did I say on the inside?
On the
anyway.
inside. Outside, inside, whatever.
Outside, inside.
On the thing. I will fold it so you can see it because, oh my gosh.
We have, we do a lot of the, fandoms of all sorts. It's hard to find some of the fandoms that are more my favorites, but
it's true.
But we do Disney stuff. We have villainesses, and we have Dalmatians, and we have but Buzz Lightyear is one of our favorites. We get a lot of Buzz Lightyear stuff, and then he's got all of his friends on the inside.
Yep.
And let's see. Oh, I love this one. We had a friend recently who went through a bout of breast cancer, and my stepmom also. And I guess
it's her birthday today,
and it's her birthday.
It's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Mary!
Hi, Mary. And I just wanted to have something for them to show some honor for them, some appreciation for them, something to give them. But what to put on the inside, because I didn't want it to be the same fabric. So we found this amazing little superhero.
So cool.
Superheroines
to
put on the inside, and I think this may be one of my favorites right now. So
it's awesome. Okay, can you see the superheroines? Okay, there, Joss.
Yeah, they're okay.
All right.
And then we have tons of Harry Potter bags. So Rachel did a whole set of Harry Potter, and we still happily have a few of them. And my daughter and my wife recently told me that I am not a Ravenclaw. They say I'm a Slytherin. I'm not sure that's true. But just because I'm not going to shy away from it if it is, I have got a Slytherin bag.
That's right.
There you go.
And we kind of canceled.
We canceled Rowling, but we still on.
But you know what?
I like what people are saying about if the books mean something to you, it doesn't have to be about.
Yep. And so many people all over the world have owned their fandom and their that world and the characters, and even the actors have said, hey, you know what, it's not us, so whatever.
So
appreciate
you got to do these things.
Oh yes, okay. So is this Morris that this looks like?
It does look like Morris.
It's like a Morris.
Like William Morris.
William Morris.
Is it William? It's something
William
anyway.
Morris. Is it William Morris? Somebody will know.
Anyway,
so extremely that. But on here we have fabulous animals.
Cats and bunnies.
Cats and bunnies. and they are engaged in all kinds of sort of
beekeeping.
gardening.
No, it's all beekeeping.
But gardening, look, gardening here too.
Oh, I guess there's
this
gardening.
is a hedgehog. He's gardening.
But it's all about the beekeeping.
But it's all about the
little
beekeeping.
hedgehog with the bugs.
Indeed. So there's hives, and they're doing and the honey and all of this stuff. And I love it.
Well, you can show this one to show what's on the
that's
inside.
right. Okay. So here, you can have a good look at this pattern while I show you the other one. Because I just think this is so amazing. I love it. I'm kind of a sucker for woolly Morris anyway. It's Morris, right? I'm sure somebody in the audience knew.
All right.
What?
Stop.
I'm showing it. I can't see it.
Just do this.
Okay. And then on the outside, outside.
Inside of that one.
Fabulous hives.
Right. So Rachel and I choose the fabrics, and we choose what goes inside and what goes outside. And we had a discussion about which one we wanted on the inside and the outside of these bags. So she did some of each.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right.
That's bags.
That's it.
Bags.
That's bags.
Okay.
So, so I was about to talk about something else that's a favorite of mine. Somebody asked in one of our previous sessions like this what my favorite style of dyeing was, and my favorite style of dyeing is over dyeing.
Falls from high places?
No. No. First of all, that's a terrible way to dye.
Just drop the yarn off it. No. All right.
I'm not going to say my answer to that. Something about the screams of my enemies echoing in my ears, but
it's all Sparta over here all the time. I'm just saying, she looks like this, right? And you're like, oh, Becca, she's so nice. But under this beats the heart of a Spartan.
Hey, that's actually my college mascot, were the Spartans.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I believe it.
Anyway.
Cute little giggle. Should her spear back here.
So, over dye.
Yes,
I like
I'm sorry.
Over dye. I like the depth and the richness that we get with colors when we dye them all something, dry them out, and then dye them again.
Well, she's amazing at it. Like, amazing.
Oh.
I did very little of it, and when I did do it, it's fine, but, Becca's colors, so good.
And I have to admit, you warned me off of it. You said it often turns into mud.
Lots of times.
Lots of times.
It's a trick. Like, you'd think it'd look easy. Oh, just layer the colors on there. You just play. And it's like, no, that's not how it works out.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's all about how you get the dye on the first time and getting some gradation of color in the skein so that there's various levels of color for the new dye to interact with, so that you get spots where the original dye was a little lighter. And it's amazing. It cannot look sometimes like it's got that much lightness to it, and then you dip it in the new color and some section of it just comes out all the new color. It's kind of astounding.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because, I think maybe most people probably know this by now, like most of you who are watching or whatever may do some dyeing on your own, but, dye on yarn is not like paint. It's like watercolor. And so anytime you put one color over another color, it's not like you're getting that new color, you're getting a combination of both colors, and that's things about it. It also means that if you've made a mistake, then that's there. Like, it's not like I'll just cover this up. No, you won't.
No, you won't.
But that's the part of the reason that overdyes are just so gorgeous.
Yeah.
When they're done right, and that's the other thing too. I think a good overdye actually takes time and patience. And
that is not a lie.
I am neither a slow dyer nor a patient dyer. I'm very much about get in, do some stuff, boom, get out.
Yeah.
And Becca really takes her time and crafts the skeins, which I would lose my mind. I would just come screaming out of the studio and run down the street.
You got to do something that you're enjoying. I love the way the color comes out on these. So just a couple. This is a blue that we overdyed in a gold, and you would think it would all come out green.
Yep,
but it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's kind of astounding.
And you're saying probably when you see it like here, it's like, oh, it's blue. But then I'm going to show it to you like actually up close under the light, and you can see. And even there, that one you can see it a lot. You can really see it. Like if you look like between here and here, you can really see where the gold comes out and where the blue is right here, and where you wouldn't see that normally. Once you start putting them right next to each other, you can really see, although it's subtle, that kind of really gorgeous contrast. And when you're using the yarn the way that shows up in your project, is essentially like the light and dark creates depth, and that's one of the, for me, the best arguments in favor of hand-dyed yarn is because when you get those slight variations, when you have a finished product, it's going to look slightly deeper. It's going to have these kind of, and it's not even that you would even notice it, but your eye is catching those depths, and it looks richer.
Speaking of that, this one is one where it was such a dark red. It starts out as this super deep ruby color.
Is that Madame Ching?
No.
Okay.
No. It's an overdye.
That's right.
It's one that we did for the New Space collection.
Oh, nice.
Whether it makes it in or not, because I'm pulling out a bunch of colors to look at, because we overdyed a bunch of stuff, because the dye style for the new collection was going to be all overdyes. And so that's one of them.
And it's funny here, like it's really subtle. As a dyer, I'm seeing it, and I don't know if it's readable.
So subtle, yeah.
But like you can see, like
the
right,
red is blowing out.
I figured it probably is. It's this area right here is just a little bit gold, and it's subtle.
You just get hints of it.
Yeah.
But that was overdyed with the same gold that the blue was, and the way it interacts with the two different base dyes is really different.
Yeah.
Similarly, this was dyed half and half, and you can kind of see, because this is that first skein, with the blue on one side and a pink on the other side, and then the whole thing overdyed in that same gold.
Absolutely gorgeous. What's the name of this colorway? Isn't this Cleopatra?
No.
Oh, no, because it's the overdye. That's right.
Caribbean Vacation.
Caribbean Vacation.
It's a wild child. We decided not to go with it. Right. So.
It's so beautiful,
but
though.
It was a great way to show off that.
Mm-hmm. It's
I
gorgeous. And that kind of thing, like people,
you said that you didn't do overdyes. But one of our very first colorways.
That is true.
Was an overdye. So this skein starts out all blue. All blue, the whole thing.
In blue.
In blue.
I forgot about that.
And then you dip just half of it in a yellow to get that great green. This is Giverny, and I think this skein is such a great representation.
It is.
Of that palette.
And if people don't get their reference, of course, Giverny is where Van Gogh painted.
It was his.
So,
well, no, it was his garden.
It was his
garden.
He actually
garden. He made the garden and painted it.
Right.
He loved it. It was his favorite thing in the whole world.
No, leave it like this, and I'll put it so you can see it. So anyway, so this is, of course, you'll recognize some of these colors. Very impressionist. Wait, is it Monet or Van Gogh? Did I just get that wrong? It's Monet.
It's Monet.
It's Monet. My bad. I'm so sorry. Hey, at least I caught it. I'm sure right now the chat is lighting up. That's Monet! You idiot!
Just nods.
Yeah, I figured. Hey, I caught it. Anyway, so these are those Monet colors. Monet, from obviously the water lilies and lots of other paintings like that. The gardens of Giverny.
Giverny.
Yes.
I have it with a hard G for some reason. I know it's not right, but it
somewhere a Frenchman screamed. Oh no! Okay.
You make it sound like it's the first time I've heard a Frenchman scream. Oh my god. You have to keep talking when I do that.
Zut alors.
Okay. So
usually it's me doing this.
Usually it is. So this is a little bit different. This one isn't this is another one where it's two colors on the skein before we overdye it, and the middle is left white. And so this is the color that we're overdying.
Right.
The two, cream, whatever, the bare yarn. And so you get to see, so because you're overdying the colors with a single color, you get cohesion between all of the colors. So it ends up, we do a lot of these three color gradients, not gradients, three color, what do we call them?
Overdyes?
No. Three color, we were calling them three ways. Three-way colors. Where you get the skein.
In Giverny.
Another one.
Zut alors.
You took I was going to use it to explain. anyway, you get about a third of the skein, a third of the skein, and then 2/6 of the skein in these colors. So
that would be a third also.
No, because it's in 2 spots. So the color goes like the purple goes all the way here.
1 2/6 as opposed to
I know,
2/6.
but look, this is 1/3.
The new math.
This is 1/3, and these are 2/6.
Yes.
But they're not together.
It's
So
still
when
a
you
third.
knit, I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay. When you knit.
Do you I'm trying to explain.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it.
Well then,
I
help,
I think he's
please.
mistaken me for somebody else.
I know. Put it back. If anybody has questions that are real questions that they want actual answers to, you can email me at becca@100ravens.com and I will answer your questions soberly.
I didn't drink at all before this. Not a tiny bit.
So these are a couple of the colorways that actually made the cut, and I've been
For the
going
space.
for the space
stuff.
for the space collection, and I have gone back and forth about whether to launch it, despite the fact that we're here, because usually we do a big display of it and stuff at the shows, and
That's one of the things, right? You can't like take your stuff to shows. You know,
Yeah,
like the virtual. I mean, you can at the
you
virtual shows.
can,
You can
but
with
it's
this,
a little
but
different.
it's not
But
like doing a whole set.
this is another gorgeous overdye, and then I'm
It's
saving
really
my very
subtle.
favorite.
I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's picking up on the camera or not, but you can see darker parts and lighter parts, and that's
Yeah.
not variegation. That's overdye.
It was
So.
actually picking up better when you were holding the skein
Okay.
up to the other camera than to
Interesting.
the.
What
I
is
will
wrong with
hold
our
it
little
up.
camera?
Well, it's because the little camera has the really bright focus.
It's
mode.
got the really So if
So
you can
there
see
you
that,
go.
so beautiful.
But you're showing only, so it's over
Is it over
here,
there? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure enough, there it is.
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, you can see that. It's so nice.
Okay,
It's
so
nice.
since we're doing favorite things, this is my very favorite.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful.
I love this so much.
So beautiful.
And I had a name for it, but Cal has convinced me to leave it up to the world to get to name this skein. So
So
we're
don't
gonna-
get up to any shenanigans.
subtle.
Zutalo.
Oh my god! Why did they let us do this? Bless your heart. Okay. So this one is actually overdyed 3 times. So it's 1 color, 2 colors, 3 colors, and 4 colors.
Yeah, and you can really tell. Like you
It
can
is
really
not, and it is
tell.
not
Gorgeous.
dyed in parts. Like every color goes over the entire skein.
Yep.
So getting this is not easy.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. So we would like you to participate in a little giveaway that we're going to do. So apparently this had a name, but I vetoed. Not because I didn't like the name, but because I wanted to give all of you a chance to name this beautiful skein. And whoever names it, the name that we pick, we will send you
A skein.
a skein of this. So start naming. I will put it here so you can have a beautiful look at it, at this absolutely gorgeous colorway.
And it's plums and golds and
Oh, and it has to be about space.
Oh,
Something
yeah, it
having
has
to
to be
do
about
with space,
space,
because remember
'cause we
this
are
was the
really
space
gonna-
colorways.
we are
Yeah.
still going to do the
Yeah.
space colors.
Yeah.
Somebody
space
said
colors.
not another Merlot, but that's not.
I kind of like that though. That's good.
That's hilarious.
I like it.
Oh, and you got me so flustered about that whole when I was trying to talk about the way the 3 colors work out. That
Sorry, I was
that's
aggressive
okay.
with my fractions.
You were aggressive with your fractions again.
Yes.
But this is a sample done in that colorway.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
colorway is Maelstrom, and this is the mainspring. What would you call it? It's a
It's a
wrap.
shawl. It's a wrap.
It's a
yeah,
wrap.
It's gorgeous.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. It's a
Um,
wrap, folks.
and it
Wait, no,
has
not
these-
yet. Don't go anywhere.
It has these great
Wings.
little turns. It makes it turn.
Yeah, and this is typical, and I think I may have said this before, but this is really typical of Rachel's patterns, Rachel Molinar's patterns, is that she's very thoughtful about how things wrap and how things lie, so
and
that
hanging on your shoulders.
yeah,
and-
so things look good when they're wrapped and they stay put,
Yeah.
because they're actually designed, to kind of sit on your body right. And mainspring is absolutely no exception,
Yep.
not an exception to that rule.
It's not. It's a gorgeous pattern,
Mhm.
and I love it. It's meant to do that sort of stained glassy thing where you use a variegated color that's not too,
I love these like weenie birds.
yeah, not too startling because or too.
We have shown this, I think.
I think. Oh no, I know we have.
Yeah.
But it's a fade.
It's beautiful. Oh yeah,
We're
yeah.
doing
No, it's
favorite
good. We're doing
things.
favorites. We're doing favorites.
So if the color changes are too long, you'll get a window that's one color and a window that's another color and a window that's half a color, and
Yeah.
so you want something that has a lot of
Quick
mix
changes,
to it.
yeah.
So it, yeah.
But
so
you
it
still
does
need those very like defined colors.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you won't get
Oh, yeah.
that effect.
Right.
You know.
That's true. All right. What do you want to talk about next? I got all
That
kinds
one,
of
that
things.
color right there. Have we shown that yet?
It's one of the show colors.
Yes.
You like this?
I love that color.
Okay.
I
like
love
this color too. I love all my colors.
Beautiful. Speaking of amazing overdyes,
Well, this isn't an overdye. This is a
So-
glaze.
so I wanted friends and hang
I
on.
can't
This
get
is
it.
we can get it. Hold on. This is actually a really good time to show you. Again, most of you may already know this, but sometimes when you pick up your skein
Oh,
and it's
good.
looking like this, there's actually a really good way to handle this mess before it gets out of control. And I'm going to show how to do it right here. So here's my, yarn spaghetti. So what I'm looking for are the cross ties, which is a really good argument for not cutting your cross ties until you actually do it. And you can see it right here. That's where it is. Is that visible on camera, Jess?
Your hand isn't, but the tie is.
Okay. So here's the tie right there. And I can pick it up. If I pick it up by the tie, and then I can look in here,
You can find here's a
and you see where I'm now I know that I'm only grabbing things on either side of the tie. So I've got exactly the skein. Does that make sense? Does that make am I
but
explaining
you're
it well?
not. That's not enough. So
And
what
then-
no, stop. So what you really have to do, because very often what will happen, and what happened to Kel right here, is one of the ones
Oh,
that
one of
they
the strands.
grabbed is going the wrong way. So
Yep.
the real way to do it is to do what Kel did. Grab one and then grab
the other one.
another.
Yeah.
And shake it a little bit, and then you'll be able to see that something isn't quite right, and then you can push that out of the way,
And there you go.
and there you go. And now all
And-
of my
And this will work for even the most tangled skeins because
Oh, yeah,
if
it
the
is.
cross ties are there.
I thought I had gotten
Because
it
you
wrong.
can coax it out, and don't just snap it because you might break some strands of yarn, but you can start coaxing it, even if some child or animal or something got it and pulled it. Obviously, it's not going to work if you don't have the cross ties, and it's not going to work if something's broken. Like if one of the strands is broken, then you're going to have to go through it and do regular detangle. But that for anything that still remains in the skein with the cross ties, that's a great way to do it. So
That's
don't
why we
despair.
leave all our cross ties on.
And then you all get them, and then the user can remove them. Only remove.
Yeah.
Only
They're
to
like
remove,
the mattress tags.
Strange. But these are actually useful.
So the color you
Oh,
like
yeah.
this? This
I
is
love that colorway.
This is Georgia O'Keeffe. Is the name of the colorway. It was our show colorway for Madison Knitters Guild's Knit In that was canceled, and I named it Georgia because she's from Madison. And she did a bunch of beautiful lake pictures before she started doing her desert stuff, and that was.
Here, I'm going to actually pull it out of this beautiful
You can
skein.
go
I
ahead.
could just put it in because I want you to see all these.
I
beautiful
skein.
colors.
I skein as a kind of fidget.
Yeah, I love those colors.
They're
so
beautiful.
Nice.
I
And
gotta say.
that's just an example of another beautiful overdye with them. But then
That's
you
not
also
an
do some
overdye.
resist
Nope, that's all glazing.
glazing.
It's a
Have we talked about the difference between overdye and glazing?
no,
So an overdye, can I say?
because they're
It's
okay.
different.
They're very
So an
different.
overdye is when you're doing like watercolor, right? So you have one color, you put another color over it or slightly over it, and you're laying the colors while they're wet.
Love it.
But glazing,
No, I actually do some of my overdyes dry.
that's right, you do some of
Yeah.
your overdyes dry, but it's still going
But
on
same idea though.
rapidly. In a glaze, Becca will take. I did start out. For instance,
Yeah.
some of the first ones I did were Marquita
Kitty
Carabass,
Lagoth,
right, and Kitty
yeah.
Lagoth. But we dyed the skein one color, and then we kind of twirl it up a little bit, and then we set it into a dye bath with a pretty strong solution.
Depends.
Depends, depending on the effect that
Right.
we want, right?
There's
And then
all kinds of.
and it just sits in there. And it's like, that's kind of like tie-dye, where basically the parts of the yarn that aren't exposed
resist, they don't get the dye.
Don't get the dye. And then the
Dye-
parts that,
yarn is greedy, so where it's easy for it to reach the dye, it will take all of the dye. And so something like this, or do I have another one here?
Yeah, that one's gorgeous too.
Something like this, where you can see there's darker bits and lighter bits of the teal, and darker bits and lighter bits of the pink. That happens because this part was most exposed in the knot that I do. So I do different knots for different dye patterns or numbers of
she's
colors.
down to a science. It's amazing.
And so when you do that, the part that is the most exposed to that dye bath is going to take as much of the dye as it can.
Yep.
And the parts that are a little further away or just a layer underneath will get that lighter.
Right. And then it sits, right? It's
some
not
of them,
like a
some
dye.
Of them sit.
Right. Some of, well, yes, again,
right.
some of
so
it sit.
If I want something like that where it gets that super dark, I'm going to let I'm going to let the dye exhaust. I'm going to let it soak up everything it can overnight or more, until it's as much dye is on the skein as possible. And then, but there are others where we do the same thing, but it's only left in there for an hour. And then there are some where it's very subtle. I had one there.
It's kind of like a combination between like a glaze and a over dye. Like when it's for the quicker ones?
The quicker ones, which we call hand dyeing, because we do it straight into
that's
the.
right.
Yeah, I guess this is kind of one. Oh no, it is. So the black didn't come out very black on this one. This one was left over. Parts of the this was left overnight in a black bath. It should have gotten a little darker, but oh well.
Yeah.
And then after it's done, I pull it out and kind of fluff the yarn, find the right places for there to take more dye, wind it up into another knot, and this one I just put into the bath because I want a nice pale color. I do it in an ice cold bath, pop it down there, wiggle it around, pull it up, not quite right. Oh, that's the color I want. And that's it. But it doesn't get very much time in the bath at all.
And then you get these nice colors. You know, it's funny. A little more black. One of the hardest, there's black in there. One of the hardest things to do in dyeing.
And which one's that? Is it under the cherry moon?
That's under the cherry moon.
Under the cherry moon, yeah. One of the hardest things to do in dyeing is pastels. And you wouldn't think that would be true, but good pastels that are well distributed, because of what we talk about.
Well distributed is the hardest part.
Because you're trying to use a very little amount of pigment, and you're trying to get that pigment distributed over a huge amount of yarn, all of which is trying to suck it up immediately.
Well, and again, the outside's going to take as much as it can, as fast as it can, and F the interior strands.
Right.
It wants all the dye.
Yep.
So if you get this into a warm bath, because it's lace and it gets a little packed up, the yarn on the inside doesn't get the dye very quickly, and you get it on the outside, you get it to the color you want, and all of a sudden you realize the inside strands aren't dark enough. You turn it inside out, you go back in, and oh no, it's all
gone.
No dye left.
Greedy bastard.
Yeah.
And left no drop for me.
Exactly. And so pastels are hard. So we do it in cold water.
To be fair, this colorway is intentionally a little variegated. So this one isn't a mistake. We create that effect on purpose.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time we are trying to get it over it. And it's sort of like, okay, get it in, shake it around, get it back out again. You know. With me, it's a lot of flapping and water going everywhere. Becca doesn't do that. She comes in, it's like everything's wet.
So the way I do it now, because changed things a little bit in the dye studio, is I'll mix the entire amount that I need to make the skein and only put about half of it in and dye it, and then figure out where it needs a little bit more and put the rest of the dye in.
So smart. And this is like, like I said, and you're all lucky that she's the one.
Tricks.
Tips and tricks, yeah. I mean, she's the one who's doing all of the dyeing now. I go down occasionally.
I'm not doing all the dyeing. Jess
does
a lot of the dyeing.
Yeah, she does a ton of it. But I'm hardly in the studio at all anymore. I'll pinch hit sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, or like I'll say, oh, I have all these gradients to do, and I still love doing gradients, so I'll go down and do a couple of gradient
King of
sets.
gradients.
King of gradients, man. Yeah, well, I love them. So, and they're fast.
Pretty awesome.
Fast and easy for an impatient person.
Well, since we're talking about glazing, I got to show off one of my favorites.
I love that one.
So
Did we? I can't remember what we talked about anymore.
I don't either.
Oh,
So
well,
I
too
love,
bad.
yeah. And it may not be the same people.
Yeah.
It may not be
It's probably the same 5 people.
our same
Hi,
12
Mom.
friends. Yeah. So this one is it's a double glazed. Double glazed. Like
Double
windows.
glaze. Everyone in the U.S. is
window.
like, what? Everybody in England's like, ha ha.
So I did it, and I was thinking it was like weird swampy colors. I wasn't sure about it, and Lily, my daughter, our daughter, came by, and she shows me the Hello Cthulhu comic strip, which is a little Cthulhu drawn like Hello Kitty, and Hello Kitty's his best friend, I think. Anyway,
So
she wanted to show me specifically the strip that was about emo Cthulhu, because he'd gone all emo, or I guess Cthulhu kind of is emo. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I loved it so much. I said, "Oh, can we call this game Emo Cthulhu?" And Lily was really into it, so that became its name. And my favorite thing is people love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love it.
Susan says hi.
Mom.
Hi, Mom. She is
Mom
on.
says hi.
I don't
So
call her
good.
back.
So good.
So emo, yeah. So people love it and buy it, and I think that's fantastic because it really is a great color. I guess it's just not my colors. I don't know. I don't respond to it, but I think it's a great.
It's not pink enough for you.
I guess.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm just saying it. Either pink or
I'll
red,
own
the
it.
blood of your enemies. It's kind of like there's no middle ground.
But nobody's ever questioned the name. I'm like, you've ordered something called Emo Cthulhu. Do you not want to know why?
And maybe the people who are ordering Emo Cthulhu do know
Understood.
why.
I know. That's
definitely.
true.
Come on,
right?
think about our customers.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Can I just say how
Speaking
fun
of
it is?
favorites.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love how geeky, fanish,
Oh, yes.
amazing our
Oh,
customers
yes.
are. And the fiber community is so
Yes.
fanish. Like,
Yes.
I look around and, you see the same fandoms and
Mhm.
stuff. And
Yep.
I was like, oh, should we be doing something different? It's like, no, it's just
do the same
cool
stuff.
that we're all in this
Well,
together.
yeah, and it's
And we do a lot of different stuff. Like, I
Yeah.
love all our art inspired yarns.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. well,
Georgia
and some of our
O'Keeffe and-
fandoms are super obscure.
yeah.
Like we have people who are like, I mean,
Oh
and-
no! I had a wild child called "Have You Brought Me Little Cakes?" and someone comes up and goes, "Is that a magician's reference?" And I'm
we're
like,
like, yes,
"Oh my god, yes!"
yes. And there's some of them are really obscure.
Yeah.
Like we have some literary reference, and not literary like highbrow literary, but old like classic fantasy stuff. And people are like, for instance, the Dragon Riders of Pern series by Anne McCaffrey,
yeah.
like the new generation. Okay, just knows about them, but we've named things after Circle Seahold.
Circle. Well, it's actually half Circle Seahold in the books, but
Well, whatever.
Oh,
It's too
whatever.
long to remember. But Circle Seahold, and people are like, oh, the yarn of my people.
Yeah.
It's so gratifying.
Yeah.
It's so
Like the
gratifying.
first time I saw your booth, before I was working for y'all, you had Ramoth in your
Yes!
booth, and I was like,
yes.
oh my god, Ramoth!
Remember-
Dragon names.
yes, all our
totally.
dragon names. My favorite was when we were baby dyers, like
Yeah.
maybe our first or second show. Not even show. Sorry, not show. Our first or second farmers market.
Farmers market.
Where we were selling yarn.
This was when it was like, oh my god, we made $100. Yes! Yes!
We did good.
We did great! And that
Um,
was like all one customer, and she came every week, and she was
Yeah.
like, Iris, if you know her, Iris.
Hi,
and
Iris.
yeah, and she was just like, I'm just gonna buy your yarn and keep supporting you. We're like, thank you.
But somebody came in and went, Dove Isabeau. That's Jane Yolen. And I'm like,
Yes!
you know Dove Isabeau.
Right?
Like it's finding your people over and over
Yes.
again. It's really awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or they say Dove Isabeau and they don't know the the Jane Yolen reference, but then we all lean in and go, Isabeau,
Yeah.
which of course is a Lady Hawk reference, and you know,
Right.
it's also high geekery there.
High
so,
geekery.
Yeah, high geekery. So yes, we absolutely favorite things, absolutely love all of
Yeah.
our customers and fans, and
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, it's awesome. I mean, that's why being in the business is as good as it is. You know, it's not like, people aren't normal. Let's be fair.
Even the normal ones are.
Even the normal ones, like they're stealth. They're like stealth.
No,
like they
well,
pass.
I
They
don't mean
pass
like the
normal.
normal. Yeah, exactly.
pass
Like
normal,
someone will
this
come
one.
and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to just be on my best behavior for this woman,
Mhm.
and
No, make no
she'll-
scraping Frenchman.
and someone will say something and I'll be like, oh, you know the secret code.
Right.
You're part of this.
Like you mentioned a dragon from the Pern books. You like, you know,
It was very
a
cool.
little code, you know, like
Yeah.
secret handshake.
I like it.
Yep.
All right. What do you want to talk about now? You want to talk about?
Oh,
2 questions.
Two things.
Oh, 2 things.
We've had one, which was a repeated question about crochet kits.
Okay.
And
Crochet
we also
kits.
I've
have
got that.
permission to go over time to talk about Fiber World.
Yes.
Fiber
But
World.
you still got 15 minutes until 9 o'clock.
Yeah, this is my 15.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, crochet kits. Oh, I'm so excited. I actually brought crochet kits because I love crocheters.
Yes.
And are
Some
they
of
all up on the website, or do they still need to be added? Because I'm not sure.
2 of them need to be added.
Okay.
I think. I don't know.
Nice.
I can't remember if Twisted Minstrel is up or not.
Well, if they're not up, they'll be up.
They'll be
soon.
up.
They'll be up. Yep.
So Twisted Minstrel is a pattern by Michelle Stead of Crafty Flutterby,
Say
and
that 3 times fast.
it was
Wait. She's changed her names.
No,
Michelle's.
Crafty Flutterby is the new name. Please stop. You're making this so hard. I'm trying so hard.
You're doing great.
So it's a no. Come on. Show.
Or rather, Alfred.
Or
Right.
rather, Alfred.
Yes.
Another. geeky
Okay,
reference.
listen, and if you get that reference, post it
Oh
in
my
the,
gosh!
post it
If
in
you
the
get
comments.
or rather Alfred,
Or rather, Alfred.
you have to come live with us. I don't know. I think it's this way actually.
I don't.
I think it's reversible maybe. Anyway, it's a great stitch that looks like seed stitch, but it's actually crochet and it's so fabulous. And it's
Yes.
this wonderful triangular shape. And it was kind of a new shape when she did it. It was
Yes.
a while back.
Yes.
Wherever Angelica went,
Mhm.
Angelica, when we first did this sample, we did it in Eliza. And that was what inspired us to do another triangular shawl that was knitted in Angelica. And
Here's Angelica in this shawl, and then
But
here
this
is
this is
Twisted Minstrel.
Twisted Minstrel in the original colors that it was done in for the kit or for the pattern picture. So I did it. I did our sample to look like the pattern page.
Yes.
looks.
Oh, this you can tell because of the scallops.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Oh.
It's okay. I was
Catching up.
catching up. Anyway, and I can't find my other one that I was really
You
excited
got
to
wait.
show.
Oh.
Anyway, I'll find it.
Okay.
So yeah. So we love Michelle's patterns. She does a lot of knitted and crocheted patterns, but in particular, we have a number of her crocheted patterns because
Great.
for whatever reason, every time we give her yarn support, she does a crochet pattern.
Which is great.
Yeah,
We
because
need
we
more.
love crocheters.
Yeah, we love crocheters.
This
And I learned how to
is-
crochet. Did I mention I learned how to? Mom taught me how to crochet.
Oh, hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
This is Field of Flowers by 10 Hours or Less.
And we can't. I mean, I'm pretty sure we show this every time
No, I think we showed. Oh no, we did show this last
Yeah.
time or the time before. Anyway,
because it's so freaking cute.
it is super cute.
It's so freaking cute. And again, this is another one that's just got that delightful drape. You know?
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
and it's just a pretty stitch.
It is a
It's
pretty
like not a
stitch.
stitch you see often. It makes cute little violets all over. That's what I think of them as anyway, or buttercups, something. This is also 10 Hours or Less. This is the first thing that we did as a sample in his patterns, and it's called the Lace Labyrinth, and I just love it.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
And it's a lot of his patterns are written so that, or most of them I think are written so that you can
He says.
no, so that you can translate them into any weight of yarn
Oh.
or any, like this can go I think for 1 or 2 more segments.
Yeah.
Or you can stop 3 segments less, however you want to do it. he writes his patterns. They're very long for us to print out, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, this, you know,
because he gives so much
detail.
variation and such detail. Yeah.
Yep.
On how to do it.
Yeah, this was part of it. This is what I was joking
I know
about.
this
Was
one's up.
the 10 hours or less series
Oh,
he did.
yeah.
We're supposedly
No, that's the name of the brand. Is 10
oh,
hours
it's 10
or
hours
less.
or less. I thought it was a series, right?
No.
So for normal people, this will take a bit more time than that. But you know, he's like, oh, 10 hours or less. These are quick.
Well, he's I think I said this before that he has amended it so that on his patterns now that are definitely not 10 hours or less, it'll say 10 hours or less, you know, this pattern, and then it says cannot be done in 10 hours.
That's good.
Or may take more than 10 hours.
Your mileage may vary, son.
So there's some crochet patterns.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
What do you want? Do you want to talk about single plies?
Do we have any more questions? Things people want to know?
We could do single plies, or we could do.
We should some really pretty
Acer minis. Let's do Acer minis. Let's do some Acer minis.
Do we have new ones right now? We talked about Acer minis.
I don't think I've ever talked about them.
They're the best because they're fat. I love how round big and smush. And speaking of references, here's another one for you all in the comments. Oh, this is Nephilim. Never mind. I thought this was Meg Murray.
Oh gosh, no, I don't have any Meg Murray. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Nephilim.
Meg Murray was the very first colorway we did in Acer minis.
And Acer minis. So yeah. So if you know the reference, you can post it in the comments. Did they get the Alfred reference? Did anyone get that?
What? I don't get the reference.
That's
so
okay.
you tell me what the reference is. I can tell you if somebody. I
know.
Well, we're not telling you. We'll see. We'll catch up later. Anyway, this is Nephilim.
And somebody did a special order of Starry Night in.
And that's a gradient, even though here I'll put it in order, so it actually looks like a gradient.
You can pull it out of the wrapper if you need to. Starry Night we do in everything. Starry Night was one of the first colorways Cal came up with, and it was one of the first mini sets after the rainbow that we did. And it continues to be a fan favorite. We do it in all kinds of things. I do it on gradient cakes now, where it's a single strand gradient. And so it only made sense that eventually it would get to be a Acer mini set. The one difference is that Acer mini sets are only 6 skeins to pull the colors across, and it's 2 skeins worth of yarn, so it's 200 grams of yarn.
So many.
So much yarn.
So many.
But
I'll tell you some an interesting fact about this. When I was a new dyer, I was new to color theory. I knew some from being a costumer and doing some other stuff. I knew, some stuff about color, but I hadn't certainly learned what I learned over years of doing this. But as I was making some of these, and this color in particular, which is Apollo, have I told this story? I might have told this story before, but anyway. So I'm trying to make a yellow, and I'm not a big yellow fan. Like I just, I'm red hat and yellow, nope. And it's not like my favorite color, right? And so I was kind of mad, like, I guess I have to make a yellow, right? And everything.
You were making a rainbow. You had to have a yellow.
I was making a rainbow. I needed a yellow, and I really couldn't make a nice yellow. And my daughter, who I think was 5, 6, something like that, like really super young. No, maybe she's a little older than that. But she comes down, and I'm, snarking about not being able to make a nice yellow. And she's been an artist since she could hold a pencil, and has known color theory apparently since she could talk. I don't know, but I said, all my yellows look really insipid. And Lily says, just add some red. And I was like, to the yellow?
That will make orange.
Yeah. And she's like, no, just put some red in it. It'll be fine. And that is how Apollo, which is this beautiful gold, was born. This uses a really very cool fluorescent. And I think I've said this before, but one of the things that people will tell you over and over again, and never mix cool tones and warm tones. It's wrong. So I have this very cool, very fluorescent yellow that was very bright, and I added our warm red to it, and that is how I got that beautiful gold. Just a tiny bit, right? Like just a tiny bit, and it was incredible.
It makes a big difference.
And I actually like that yellow. So yeah.
There you go.
Beautiful.
So Nephilim, this is the 10 hours or less did a bunch of patterns for us. So this is what he did with Nephilim and a skein of Mithlond gray, and it's so pretty.
This is the Nile necklace, right?
This is the Nile necklace. Yeah. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, Nephilim, and I have to say Nephilim is one of my favorite colorways.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful colorway.
My favorite is he asked for it and for that colorway, and then halfway through he says, you know, I don't think I'm going to do it as a gradient. I need to know what the names of each of those colors are. And I'm like, I dyed it as a gradient in the same pots. It's not like I dye each individual color separately and put them together. They're all dyed in their pot, in succession in the same pot. And he says, and he's like, well, I'll just make up names for him. So
George, Ian,
he made up names.
Eduardo, that French guy who's screaming.
Now you can.
Yeah.
I think we had Mermaid's Tail over there. That's another one of your early colors.
Yeah. I did. If I'm left to my own devices, I would only dye blue and purple, mostly together, and then maybe sometimes green if you're lucky.
Yeah. And this is the Magic Dragon shawl by Heather Anderson, and she did. I love this one because it just shows the gradient so beautifully.
It does.
That
and dragon scales.
It's dragon scales. It's beautiful edging. It needs to be blocked again because all the samples need to be blocked again. Yep. And it's just a gorgeous pattern, but I think it looks really beautiful in the sample. I need to talk towards the camera apparently. Anyway, so that's Easter minis. We do them in all kinds of colors, but not as many as we do the Yakos minis. Yeah,
2.5 seconds.
I'm putting all the yarn around you. This is a new shawl.
So
this
cute.
one's not up on the website yet. This is
a new favorite. God, it's so beautiful.
Well, it's an old favorite. It's Love of a Pirate. We originally did it in taiki, in the single ply fingering. But I wanted to see what it would look like in a gradient. This gradient's called To Infinity and Beyond, for obvious reasons.
Where's the bag? We'll put it together with the bag here.
And so it's the first sample I got back in one of the gradient kits that I did, or gradient cakes that I did. So I'm feeling a little chuffed about it.
Yeah, it is. This is really beautiful.
It's a beautiful gradient.
It's funny too, because like when you do a colorway like this, you think, "Good Lord, that's bright." You know, and we have a refrain that we always say in the studio. Well, somebody will buy it, which is true, right?
Somebody will love it.
Somebody will love it.
The refrain is
somebody will love it.
It may not be. You may not think it looks
not
good,
to my
but
taste.
somebody's gonna love it.
Well, and the funny thing is that sometimes a colorway is really just looking for the right project.
Right.
You know, and it's like I could put this in a lot of other projects and be like, oh no,
it's a lot.
But this is perfect.
It's
it's perfect.
It's very pretty.
And here it is with its matching bag here. There we go.
Well, in mini sets, as we were talking about mini sets, that's where I learned to love over dyes, because my favorite skeins in any mini set are the ones in the middle.
Yeah.
Where the colors have blended together, and that's where I first was like, I want to do those skeins big.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, we have.
Where are you going? Oh.
Have we shown?
I don't think
Have we shown this before, Jess? Do you know? This is
who cares?
Speaking.
Just show.
So we do. You all know about. We do bearded iris, which is again purple. Me and purple and green. Here it is. Yeah, bearded iris.
Bearded iris.
Yep. And that's the swing vest marble mini
marble swing vest.
Mini marble swing vest.
Oh, I just wanted to watch them struggle. Pierre's with the look.
Anyway, so but we forget sometimes, like, you know, we do. I mean, certainly at 100 Ravens, we do so many saturated colors. We do very bright colors. But we do love our subtle colors too, like the Schuyler Sisters is, you know, pretty subtle for us. And I meant it to look.
Glinda is very subtle.
Glinda is subtle, and some of those we have come about because we wanted to be evocative of older things, you know, like those. I wanted that kind of historical feel to the women's costumes, with that kind of parchment colored brown, which and that was a color that Rachel Molinar actually developed that we use all the time, called banjo.
Well, it's called Deadly Desert.
Deadly Desert, and that was from when we did our
steampunk.
Steampunk and
no, it was steampunk,
Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
Steampunk Wizard of Oz. And yeah, and we did. And so we worked on kind of antiquing our colors, which was new for us. That was, I know it was a lot of glazing and stuff like that. But this is an antiqued kind of colorway as well. And this is one where, you know, the middle colors really are kind of the awesomest.
Yeah.
And this is the antiqued version. The Bearded Iris.
Yeah.
Easily one of my favorites. And subtle, you know.
And called Saturnalia.
Saturnalia, also why it's my favorite.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock. If you want to go on about Fiberworld, you are.
Fiberworld.
Okay, well, hang on. Let's sign off.
Sign off.
For 100 Ravens.
Signing off for 100 Ravens from Raven's Land. This is so much fun.
From the Knitting Casbah, or what we call the Fiber Casbah.
Yes. In our sunroom in here.
All right, so
Fiberworld.
I'm going to introduce you. So, while I've been running the business, Kel's been a professor. And for the first time this summer, Kel had no classes to teach and no other projects that they were really working on. So they decided, since as everything was getting canceled, that we needed an online show that was something really as close to a regular show with all the, not all the, but what do we want to say, with all the feel of an in-person show.
Yeah,
as much as possible.
Yeah, and like kind of asking. So my what I teach, I'm a
Yeah.
professor of game design at Champlain College in Vermont, and a lot of what I do with my students is what constitutes, like for the user, what constitutes a real feeling experience. And when we say real, that could be like real of like I'm flying on a dragon, or it doesn't have to be verisimilitude necessarily, but it has to convince the person that they are there, and it has to make them want to be there more. And how could we do that for a fiber festival that was online? Because we've seen all like this stuff like this is so great, and people mobilized so fast to think up solutions to try and bring vendors to their customers and customers together and all of this stuff. And there have been all these great solutions, but I thought, what would happen if we just came at it intentionally? Like rather than having it be stopgap, we just said, what would like a totally virtual fiber festival look like? What elements would we want? And so we would want people to get together and get to hang out. And we would want people to be able to go shopping, which we really miss. Like, right? Shopping's big.
And vendors were complaining that one of the things they were missing was getting to actually talk one-on-one with their customers, because sometimes a customer has questions.
Yeah.
And
and we love our customers.
Online,
yes.
And shopping online isn't the same.
It's not the same, right? And it isn't just that you can't squish the yarn, which is also sad, right? But we all kind of know what yarn feels like. But the chance to interact with the vendor, to ask questions, for us to get to know our customers. You know, this isn't an industry where we're just kind of like, oh, we have 10 million customers and we don't know them. And so, like, we know all of you. Like the majority of you who are listening right now, I probably know, besides Mom. You know, or I have seen, like, I would recognize your face from a show, and we were missing that. And then also all the other stuff, online classes. So I got together some game development students with a team of a game designer, a programmer, and a producer. And then we brought in another student from UVM who is a graphic designer.
University of Vermont.
Yeah, that. Anyway, and she's doing some stuff. And then we have some other folks who are working on it, including Becca. She can drag her in. And so we've created Fiberworld, and it is actually going to be ready to go and launching on August 19th. That's when the show is open. It's going to run through the weekend. So it's going to be the 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. That's 5 days of show. It's going to be all online, and it's going to be on a website. So what's going to happen is Monday, 2 days from now, you're going to be able to go get your tickets. And you're going to buy your tickets in advance, and you're going to hold on to your tickets, but they're virtual, so you're not going to really hold on to them. Your computer's going to hold on to them. But you're going to get your ticket, and on the day of the show, you're going to be logged into the site, and you'll be logging into the festival. And you'll be able to go to the main stage, where we will have streaming of events all weekend long. We're going to have everything from lectures to demos to interviews and panels. We have some great hosts. And
who's hosting?
Who's hosting? So some faces that you know. Franklin Habit is one of our hosts, and we're delighted to have him. And we also have Nisinamad Diode, who is an incredible crochet designer. Just incredible. Like House of Consat is his brand. And those of you who went to Vogue in January got to see his show there, and it just brought the house down. People were just stunned. It is couture on the one hand and also art, and incredible.
And
incredible. And he is such an incredible human being. So we're so honored to have him. And then also my good friend Marianne Monraj, who has just released her book, Serendip Kitchen. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she is
her Serendip brand.
And her Serendip brand. And it's all about lifestyle, and it's about lifestyle and this kind of modern idea of like what we consider hearth and home has expanded.
Yeah.
And even in this time of COVID, that our consciousness is much more global, that we're concerned about our community in addition to our family, and we think of, our neighborhood as our community, and sort of integrating all of those things.
Yeah.
And talking about social justice in the same breath that we're talking about what we're going to have for dinner, and is it sustainable, and yet something that we can feed all of our kids without them going yuck. And all these sort of pragmatic things.
Right.
So you're going to be able to...
Wait, and also on the main stage is...
Oh, main stage, yes.
Is a fashion show.
A fashion show! And also I hear the vendors are going to put together...
Am I so sad that... Am I the only one who's missed fashion shows?
I've missed fashion shows. I've missed fashion shows. So we're going to do a fashion show. People are going to send us their walk. I don't know. We're going to see, and we're going to splice it all together, and then our MCs are going to host it. It's going to be great. And I hear a rumor that one of the vendors is now putting together a pet fashion show, so you may have an opportunity to enter your pets in the pet fashion show. We're also going to have online instruction, so you'll have fantastic classes. I can't even tell you, we've got some great instructors signed up, and some really different stuff, like really different, great classes. So you'll be able to register for those pretty soon. And then we will also have the vendor booths are going to be really neat. So each of the vendors has their own webpage on our website. And you're going to be able to go to their webpage, and that's going to be their booth. And you're going to be able to go into their page, and sometimes during the weekends, the vendors will actually be there in their booth on the internet. We're going to smoosh them into the internet, and they're going to pop up from we're going to have a Zoom. Hello, oh God, what have I done? Would you like some yarn?
It's like Mike TV from
I will trade you
in the Chocolate Factory. What?
It's like Wonka Vision.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. We'll trade you yarn to leave. Did you rub my lamp here? Do you want some yarn? Anyway, yes.
No, so the top of every virtual vendor booth is a streaming window.
Yep.
And vendors will be in their booth.
Yep.
Throughout the weekend.
Yep.
Not 24/7.
Not 24. Well, I don't know. Some vendors might be.
Maybe if they're crazy.
Yes. I mean, maybe they will.
We'll take it in turns, right?
Vendor cam. We're like watching them go around the room and sleep and things like that. I don't know. Hilarious.
But yeah, we'll be there, and you can
interact with them.
You can
so not
click
only
a button and
say hello.
Say hello.
And ask them about the stuff that's there and shop, and they'll be able to help you. And some vendors may even have some stock that they can show you also on their screen. That's up to the vendors. We're really leaving it open to the vendors of what they do.
Yeah.
Some vendors are already planning to host events and parties. People are talking about virtual yarn crawls, going to all the booths. We're definitely going to have, we're going to have prizes.
Oh, lots of prizes.
Door prizes. Vendors and door prizes. Yes, I don't know. It's weird. They're like, let us give you all the things. And we have some great vendors already. If you go to the website, it's fiberworld2020.com or fiberworldshow.com. Either of those will work. fiberworld2020.com. Right now you can subscribe to the mailing list, and on Monday you will be able to purchase a ticket for the show.
And then, is it Friday?
By Friday we should have a registration for classes as well. So get your ticket, register for your classes, and come to the show.
If you decide to register with your ticket, you get the main stage, you get lounges where you can go and hang out with friends and have virtual knit nights like we've all been doing. You get the marketplace, access to the marketplace.
All the vendors.
There's a second level of entrance that gets you to a second stage where there'll be some more stuff going on.
Stage.
The super fine. And then if you decide to sign up for classes, the $15 for your entrance ticket, your regular ticket,
just deducted.
Gets you get that discount on your classes. So essentially, if you come to classes, you get to come in for free.
That's right. And it's going to be an annual event. This is the first of many. And we want it to become global. We have already invited instructors. We have instructors who are going to be coming to you from the UK.
And Peru.
And yes, and we have instructors from Hawaii. So, and we're gonna slowly expand that. Eventually, I want it to be like 24/7 event and all this stuff going on, and taking classes in Korea, and yeah. So we're really hoping that we can take advantage of the virtual world and do it in a way that's immersive and fun, and people have a good time and can be social, especially now with COVID, but also past COVID. There's some of us. I mean, I get tired going to all these shows, and for customers, you tend to be kind of constrained by local stuff. Like I would like to go all the way out to California to a show, but it's a lot. There
are people who can go to only go to their local vendors who can only go to their local shows, so not big enough.
Right.
And if you aren't in California, you don't get to see that vendor.
And the California people don't get to see the small vendors from the East Coast who can't travel all the way out there. Well, meanwhile, on top of that, some customers don't want to or can't go all the way out to California, or people from London can't shop California vendors. But this way, we're gonna bring everybody together. It's gonna be awesome.
And we've got at least one UK vendor confirmed.
Yes. And she's instructing
Jess
as well.
just said we had one UK vendor already.
One UK vendor confirmed.
So.
Yeah, and I think a second's coming up because I remember talking to somebody in the information thing. So yeah, so we'll have an information video up, and if you have any questions about it, you can ask 100 Ravens. 100 Ravens is one of the sponsors, because we're crazy like that. Yeah, I know, because my wife listens.
Well, isn't there somebody? Can you email info at
Yes,
Fiber
there
World?
is yes. So we have Facebook. Jess will put all the.
It's already been.
Of course it has. Of course she has. You can join our Facebook group, and you can subscribe to the mailing list. And then, info@fiberworldshow.com. If you have questions, just email us. And I think the other thing I wanted to say, too, is accessibility. That was a really big thing. Like, we were talking about, there's some, we all love Rhinebeck, we all love these big shows, but for a lot of people, they're not accessible. They're not practical. They can't afford to go. And we wanted this to be available to everyone, and we're really working hard on making the website as accessible as possible. It's all in a browser. You'll be able to get to it from your phone, your computer, from anything. And because you're not having to upload a whole bunch of different programs, everything's right there in the browser for you. So so it should be fun. So yes, thank you, and thanks for the time to do that. I appreciate being able to announce that to you all. So
yay!
We did the thing.
You did the thing.
We did the thing.
Bye.
Bye. We love you. Bye.